No, that's not true at all. I sat right to his left. He did not explode in anger. And by the way, it's an off-the-record meeting, so whoever said that and mischaracterized it should think thrice. But no, he did not explode in anger. He's the president-elect. He won. Winning finishes a lot of sentence. Winning solves a lot of problems. Winning makes a lot of statements. And I'm really happy that he reached out to them after a very long and bruising, hard-fought, and not always fairly covered campaign.
Kellyanne.
All right, talking about the meeting at Trump Tower yesterday with media moguls such as the head of CNN, Jeff Zucker, Wolf Blitzer of CNN, Lester Holt, George Stephanopoulos, a whole bunch of people at the gathering. Martha Raddatz, I believe, was there, one of the debate moderators as well. And the reports in the New York Post afterward talking about how Trump called them out one by one. There were curse words. He took them to task. He called them liars, dishonest, evil people, etc. And there you have the spokesperson, of course, for Donald Trump, Kellyanne Conway, saying, nope, I sat right next to him. It didn't happen. I don't know. I have a feeling it might have. Joining us once again, still here on the panel, Kristin Tate, libertarian author, political columnist, founder of thelibertarianchick.com, and author of Government Gone Wild. Roger Simon is here, co-founder of PJ Media, award-winning novelist, and author of I Know Best, How Moral Narcissism is Destroying Our Republic If It Hasn't Already. So Roger, what do you think happened at that meeting?
Exactly what you did, blood on the tracks. But you know, one of the interesting things about all this is, you know, Trump has been talking about term limits, right? With the exception of the three of us on this show at the moment, I declare there should be term limits for media. Because the people who are at this thing, how many years has George Stephanopoulos been in our lives? I mean, Hillary's now lost, but his lapdog Stephanopoulos will be with us forever. Forever.
Yeah, that's true. Don't put it that way, please. Kristin, I don't know about term limits for journalists, but having said that, so what do you, I mean, I take Kellyanne Conway at her word usually, but she said it was an off-the-record meeting, so she's not going to reveal it. What do you think happened?
I hope Trump told these media blowhards off. We finally have a fighter who's willing to not take any nonsense or bullying from the media. And it's hilarious to watch these people in the media realize that they cannot harass or bully Trump into doing what they want him to do. And you know what? If the New York Times doesn't like it, they can squawk about it to their Upper West Side readers. They can all cry together in their safe space. But we, the American people, we love it, and we love hearing from Donald Trump directly. That's why he's got to keep doing things like, you know, his videos for Twitter and Facebook. We want to hear from him directly without this media spin.
Yeah, and Roger, earlier today, Donald Trump said he wasn't going to meet with the New York Times. They're dishonest, whatever. He canceled it. And now he's meeting momentarily as we speak with the New York Times. What's that? Why would he meet separately with the New York Times?
Because they're the kings of the kings. What the truth is that all these people like the Stephanopoulos of the world, they read the New York Times in the morning for what they're supposed to say. I mean, it's pathetic, really, but that's the truth. That's the way it is. By the way, apropos of safe spaces, I say that Zabar should be declared a safe space, except that I believe I can go there because I like their locks, even though I'm a conservative.
All right, you wrote a great piece, Roger, talking about a topic we really need to discuss because it's so very important, and that's this fake news garbage. To me, the fake news comes from the mainstream media, as I think we saw during the election and what's been revealed through WikiLeaks. But what's going on here is very dangerous because Google and Facebook are using a list of websites, including Breitbart, including The Blaze, and many others that many of us and many of our viewers go to regularly, declaring them fake news sites, and they're going to try to limit the revenues that they make by taking out in algorithms, taking out some of their ability to bring viewers and people in, and it'll affect sponsorship. So I don't know if there's any legal recourse, Roger, you may know that, but this is a very dangerous situation.
That's straight out of the Goebbels playbook. I mean, you know, Howard Dean may be ludicrously declaring Bannon a Nazi, but this is real Nazi behavior. That's what Goebbels did when they were trying to control the press in Germany. I mean, right now you control the press through Google and Facebook. I mean, the rest is irrelevant. I mean, the rest is like that. So You know, it's quite scary, and I fully expect that I'm going to be censored soon. I'm ready.
Well, what about it, Kristin? I mean, you know, this could affect you. It could affect me. It could affect here. It could affect anybody, because when you put someone in charge of the gate, as gatekeeper, to decide what's true, what's not, who should be heard, who shouldn't, we're not America anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I spend a lot of time on Facebook. I will say there is actual fake news being put out on Facebook. The problem is, how do you define fake news? If we're going to define it, we need to put someone in charge of that. And that's going to be either Facebook or worse, the government. And that's really when you start having censorship and you silence people and you shut down debate. You know, is a climate change denier promoting fake news? Well, Facebook might say yes. We need to leave it up to the people to decide, and the actual liars on Facebook, they're going to lose their credibility and their audience anyways. What this is really about, Steve, is the left-wing media waging war on conservative media, because you have these outlets like the Washington Post and the New York Times with huge overhead costs. They're losing readers. They would love to see Facebook shut down these scrappy conservative blogs that are bringing news to the people.
Roger, as co-founder of PJ Media, I'm not saying you're on that list or anything, but is there something legally that any site that would be on that list could do in a class action, and or is there any way that they could get around it? Is there an alt web site, an alt web kind of in the future of any kind?
Well, you know, I've heard the latter talked about a lot, but you know, the problem is what they call on the internet the first mover advantage. And Google and Facebook obviously have a first mover advantage. They're the habit of America. The habit of the world, really, forget America. So, you know, that's the problem with starting your own Twitter or your own Facebook. Secondarily, I'm not up to speed on the legal issue here. I should be. I no longer run PJ, but if I did, I would be on it right this minute. But I really think it's got to be looked at, because it is obviously a First Amendment issue of tremendous importance. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. One other column that I want to refer to of yours at pjmedia.com, Roger, is who pays for the anti-Trump demonstrations / riots. Now, they've gone away, I think, for the most part. Of course, the media is all focused in on these 100 wackos, white nationalists, who they say that because they had a meeting somewhere, Donald Trump's to blame. But, I mean, do we know definitively who does organize and pay for these people to go from state to state, the ones that do that, and the ones who don't go state to state but do participate, who's paying them, if anyone?
Well, we have pretty much knowledge that these come from organizations that were funded at some level very high up by George Soros. One of the real problems that those of us who are on the right with all these new media companies have is a resource issue. Because in order to get the knowledge you're describing, you need a lot of detective work that's very expensive. And the New York Times has it, and the Washington Post have the capability of doing that. But Breitbart and PJ Media don't have that capability. So it's a very one-sided fight. But what you're saying is true, and we do know that the Soros organizations are involved in there somewhere.
Yeah, Kristin, I mean, that's the popular thought process at George Soros. And there have been people who have written, you know, quite comprehensive articles where they, in their view, are documenting his involvement. You know, what we witnessed in the immediate aftermath of the election is exactly what the media predicted we would see from Trump supporters if he had lost the election, and they see no irony in that whatsoever.
Right, no, it's exactly right. And you can go on Craigslist, or you could see postings for people offering to pay you to protest. I mean, everyone knows that some of these folks are being paid. Apparently in America today, protesting is a full-time job, and I can guarantee you, if Hillary had won, Trump supporters would not be out there doing this, because they have jobs they have to go to every day. And yeah, it's ridiculous the way the media was predicting that, though. I was actually on a British station, and they did a whole package of Trump supporters in a church, and they were like, these people own guns. Do you know what they're going to do if Hillary wins? We can only guess. Well, you know, it was ridiculous.
Speaking of that, I can take credit for employing a lot of people on the left, because when I was writing my Diary of a Mad Voter blog, which got very popular during the election, very pro-Trump, the number of trolls coming on there that were obviously being paid was huge.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Good point.
They owe me a lot of money. They should take me out to dinner. It happens to be my birthday today, so. And we're going to a nice place with my family, and maybe they could comp us.
All right, I want to thank both of you. It's always a pleasure, and we'll speak to both of you, Kristin and Roger, real soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.